then YouTube, let's go back a week to when I was on my way to performance vehicle engineering down in Somerset to get my car mapped. We'll show you a bit about the journey, what happened when we got there and what happened when we come back. Good morning YouTube, it's 10 to 2 in the morning, just setting off to go down to performance vehicle engineering down in Dorset. It's a 5 or 6 hour drive, so I need to set off nice and early so that I'm there in plenty of time and hopefully don't get stuck in traffic. Just pulled over to check the straps, make sure everything's alright. As you can see, I'm the only one up in the middle of nowhere. I look like absolute death because I've had about 3 hours sleep. But it is what it is. It's absolutely peed down all night, the car's absolutely soaking. Don't know if that's a sign of how bad things are going to go, but we'll see. Let's crack on. Had a quick stop off at Gloucester Services. It's about 20 to 5 now, so we're only an hour and a half away or something, so quick break and then we'll get going again. It's 7:10. I'm obviously ridiculously early, but it's better to be early than be late. So I'm just going to have a kit for a little bit, wait for Steve to turn up, and then we'll get the car in and we'll do some more filming from there. So we've just got the car loaded on the dyno. These are some of the other things that they have. Bit of a range, Volkswagens, Audis, Skylines, Ford Focus, Mazda, Mini, Golf. Two problems so far. The first one was all the holes for the coils had filled with water because it had been sat out overnight, so there were loads of steam coming up the bonnet, so I thought the head gasket had gone, so I've sorted that, and now I've had another one of these coils fail, so we're just waiting on a new coil arriving from the local motor factors. We've managed to change over the injector settings to the correct one, so that's all in. So once that's done, I'm going to leave Steve to it and he's going to send it. So now the problem is, my timing is 38 degrees out from the first tooth for some reason, so we need to investigate that. Right then, what happened? Well, I'll explain why the cam timing went out. So in the end of a CA18DET exhaust cam, there's a little half moon dowel, and in the cast, the crank angle sensor that goes into that, there's the reverse of that. So the crank angle sensor sits over this dowel. It can be adjusted, so you can adjust your timing forward and back slightly. When I rebuilt the engine this time and put it back together, because I've got a collection of exhaust cams and inlet cams, I picked the best exhaust cam based on the visual condition, which wasn't the same as the one that was in the engine last time. Unbeknown to me, the dowel in the end of this cam's rotated a bit, so when I've been running the engine in, the cam timing's been the best part of 30 degrees retarded, so that's obviously made it hot in the exhaust, obviously because of the retarded ignition, and my turbo's been basically cooking itself as I've been running the engine in. We did notice this on the dyno, thankfully, before we did out serious. Obviously we checked the timer with the timing light. We can correct it in my ECU so that it's no longer a problem, but as soon as we started putting some boost in it, the oil seals went on the turbo, and that was the end of my day at 2:30. I don't have any videos of me driving home sulking and moaning to my friends on the phone, so there's no video of the rest of that day. However, as you can see behind me, I've decided to take the engine out because of another problem, and I'll show you that now. So ever since I put this engine back together, I've had issues with the crank seal leaking. I bought the crank seal from an online tuning website, which is a non-OEM one. This is the second one I've had from the company. The first one leaked. Put this one in, and this one's still leaking. So whilst the turbo's gone off to be fixed, I thought I'd have a look at this. As you can see, when you put it on, it's very loose, and you can even see gaps if you press it up, which is absolute crap. Now I've measured these two crank seals, and the crank itself is 84mm, and this crank seal is basically 84mm, which is why it's leaking, so it's absolute garbage. This one, however, is a genuine one, which is what I should have bought in the first place. This one is 82mm on the inside. So, I mean, you can almost tell by looking at it, it even looks a better fit. So, while the turbo's off getting fixed, I'm going to fit this new crank seal, put the sump back on, get it all sealed, and then that'll stop the oil leaks. In terms of the turbo itself, it had cooked the oil seals, and you can see that the bearing housings have got worn. They're all that tinted yellow colour. Thankfully, we shut off the engine within seconds, so we've managed to save any serious damage being done there, which is obviously really good. The turbo's gone off to a place called JK Fabs. I'll put his link below. You can see he makes hybrid turbos and he rebuilds ones like mine that have broke. So that's getting rebuilt. I'll hopefully pick that up next week. Obviously, part of the issues with a leaking crank seal is that your clutch gets contaminated with oil, so I've sent that off to be fixed and relined, and then we'll be putting it back together again, and it will be going back down to Steve at PVE, and it'll be mapped properly again, fingers crossed. No problem. In order to stop the exhaust cam moving again, obviously it's rotated once. Redline Racing in Brighouse is going to come over, and what we're going to do is we're going to lock the dowel in position so that it won't move again. That'll obviously prevent any further issues going forward. This video is nowhere near as exciting as I was hoping it would be. I thought I'd be telling you about my great power figures and how amazing the car is to drive with the correct injector settings in, etc. But alas, not to be. The curse of the CA18 continues. But this won't be the final chapter. We're going to get it sorted, and we will see you very soon for the next instalment of this car's journey. Don't forget to like and subscribe. There's lots more to come. See you on the next video. Bye.